He sallallahu alayhi wasallam is born and he doesn't have a father. He spends 6 years with his blessed mother and then she passes away as well. His grandfather that cared for him, after a few years, his grandfather passes away as well. So at a very tender age, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, those relations that I and you would assume are like material to a child's upbringing, the Prophet alaihi salatu wasallam doesn't have them. Then he goes into the care of his uncle, Sayyiduna Abu Talib, who is the father of Sayyiduna Ali. So the father of Sayyiduna Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he cares for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that's where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam grows up. Under the care of Sayyiduna Abu Talib, who is the father of Sayyiduna Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And he cares for him, and he acts as a shepherd for his livestock. He brings in money into the household as well. He's brought up in that way until the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is now a young, independent person. At this point, the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, he spends time in the markets. He spends time in the trade caravans. He spends time with the people of Makkah. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, from the age of 21, 22 onwards, he engages in trade. People employ his services. Why? Because he's known to be trustworthy. One such person who engaged his services was none other than his first wife, Sayyidah Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha. In the story of how the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam came to marry Sayyidah Khadija, the Sayyidah Khadija was a very rich tradeswoman. She had caravans going all over the Arabian Peninsula. And at one point she instructed the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to take one. So to take a trade caravan on her behalf. And she instructed one of her slaves to spend time with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to get to know him. When they came back, to summarize, when they came back, Sayyidah Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha, she wanted to marry the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was trustworthy. He was, he's a believable person. He was honest. He was helpful. He was just the pinnacle of perfection. And of course, why not? He's the beloved sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So eventually the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam married Sayyidah Khadija. What age was this? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was 25. Just remember one point though, when we mention ages and we mention about the previous books mentioning ages, oftentimes they're mentioning Hijri ages. So like from the lunar years. When you bring them into solar years, you decrease 10 days from each year approximately. So for example, for every 36 years, you'll usually decline 1 year. So 36 lunar years is generally there or thereabouts 35 solar years. So just do bear that in mind. So the Prophet ﷺ married Sayyidah Khadija when he was 25 and Sayyidah Khadija was around 40. And Sayyidah Khadija had been married previously. She'd been married previously on more than one occasion.